Hey guys, looking for new games similar to The Last of Us? Then you've come to the right place. We've started the list with Nobody's Left, an anticipated action, adventure, and survival game in development by Mad Rain Studio, a small team led by Iranian developer Mo Kakzad. The game promises a deep narrative experience, focusing on survival, stealth, and combat in a post-apocalyptic setting. You take on the role of a bounty hunter caught in the middle of a conflict between two major factions. The narrative focuses on the responsibility of protecting loved ones in a world where safety no longer exists. The story explores the emotional and moral cost of survival, with multiple endings depending on the player's choices. Combat is designed to be pragmatic, with intelligent enemies that require planning.
Everywhere. I better stay quiet. There's too much of them.
You wanna tell me none of you motherfuckers could find a trace of the motherfucker?
Night.
Show me yourself.
Fucker.
Outbreak Island is an open-world survival horror game that places players on a remote island where a mysterious outbreak awakens bloodthirsty monsters at night. The game takes place on Erlson Island, where a secret experiment went wrong, turning the island into an isolated and dangerous location. Players take on the role of Howard Chapman, a detective who arrives on the island incognito to investigate the origin of the accident and what happened to the residents. The island is a hostile environment, with extreme weather and monsters lurking around every corner. The goal is to find the island core and take control of it, or destroy it. The game offers a variety of resources for players to collect, including wood, stone, metal, and food. These resources can be used to build shelters, tools, and weapons.
Oh, here we go. Let there be light. And here come the first customers. Enjoy your meal. So, how do I start my day on the island? Just like any other normal person does. I love the smell of the forest in the morning. Nothing invigorates you better than a jog in the fresh air. Living my best life. On my way, I stop for groceries. A hearty and balanced breakfast is the foundation of a productive day. Usually, the selection is not too diverse, but sometimes you come across real delicacies. By the way, I cook breakfast for myself. I have to improvise, but it always turns out finger-licking good. Afterwards, I drive to work. You have no idea how wonderful life is without traffic jams. There, I do my routine stuff. Trying my best not to get into any trouble. Finally, I'm home. You know, this is the only place where I truly feel safe. Sometimes I overdo it a bit, and then I need a small repair on myself. My insurance is expired, but the service here is not the best either. The day is coming to an end, and my faithful yellow friend and I are heading out to grab dinner. And here we are, the next link in this crazy food chain. Who's next?
Post-Trauma is a survival horror game developed by Red Soul Games, an independent studio based in Valencia, Spain, and published by Raw Fury. You take on the role of Roman, a tormented train engineer who wakes up in a surreal dimension after an agonizing panic attack. The game combines fixed camera angles and cutting-edge visuals using Unreal Engine 5 to create a terrifying and familiar horror experience. The game's atmosphere is one of its strengths, with a chilling soundscape and cinematic graphics that contribute to a truly horrifying experience. Post-Trauma is a love letter to classic survival horror games, combining classic mechanics and fixed camera angles with modern visuals and soul-chilling soundscapes. The game features well-thought-out puzzles, some easy to solve and others quite complicated, as was the case in survival horror games from the PlayStation 1 and 2 era.
Would have meaning. No, this is just us and our queen.
You think you can escape what you've done?
I think I can try.
The Sinking City 2 is a survival horror game developed by Frogwares, inspired by the works of H.P. Lovecraft. It is the sequel to The Sinking City, and takes place in the city of Arkham, USA during the 1920s, which was ravaged by a supernatural flood. The game's main focus is horror and survival, with combat and exploration taking center stage. The developer mentioned a shift in focus, prioritizing horror over the detective work present in the first game. Unlike the first game, which followed Detective Charles W., read The Sinking City 2 will feature a new protagonist yet to be detailed. This aims to make the game more accessible to new players. Combat has been revamped to be more robust, addressing criticisms of the janky system in the first game.
restricted. For your protection, please avoid contact with anybody that may appear abnormal. Your safety in this new world is our absolute priority.
Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet is an action-adventure game developed by Naughty Dog for the PlayStation 5, with a release planned for the future. The game takes place in an alternate universe, thousands of years in the future, where advanced space travel already existed in 1986. The story revolves around Jordan A. Munn, a bounty hunter who gets stranded on the remote planet Semperia while searching for the criminal syndicate 5's aces. The game draws inspiration from anime like Akira 1988 and Cowboy Bebop 1998, adopting a retro-futuristic aesthetic with elements from the 1980s, such as Sony CD players, Porsche-inspired spaceships, and Adidas sneakers. Initially, the game was conceived as a possible Jak and Daxter 4, planned as a more realistic reboot of the series. However, Naughty Dog discarded this idea because it did not align with the tone of the previous games, transforming the project into a new IP.
Jordan,
tell me something good.
Well, you're right, it checks out. He's hiding out around the Semperia moon.
Excellent.
How is that excellent? He's next to fucking Semperia. No one has left that planet in over 600 years. Anyone who even flies close to it is never heard from again.
Superstitions.
No. Superstitions are the crazy rumors about what happened on that planet. These are facts.
You worry too much.
You know what I worry just the right amount. I say we wait for him to leave, or how about we find a new lead? He's not worth it. I'm wasting my time, aren't I?
Can you please claim him? I don't need another hunter swooping in.
Who is swooping? No one is crazy enough to go there.
He clearly is.
He is clearly desperate.
And so am I, so claim him, or I will find another agent.
Anyone else with all your fucking shit? Okay, alright, you know what? There, you're the boss.
Thank you.
Listen, kid. I'll see you on the other side.
Never stop, forget it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, bitch, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the...
A Silent Desolation is an open-world survival game developed and published by Decay Interactive, an indie studio led by a solo developer. The game is in development using Unreal Engine 5 and is described as an immersive survival experience with elements of exploration, resource management, and deep narrative. The game takes place in the distant future, where humanity abandoned the solar system centuries ago, leaving behind silent worlds and unsolved mysteries. You play as a lone interstellar traveler who crashes and lands on Earth, now a desolate planet, unrecognizable and haunted by the remnants of an extinct civilization. The game emphasizes a post-apocalyptic setting with a science fiction and survival horror tone. You must manage vital resources such as oxygen, energy, water, and crafting materials. Silent Hill F is a new title in the acclaimed psychological horror series Silent Hill, with a release planned for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and PC. Set in 1960s Japan, the game promises a terrifying and unprecedented experience, exploring horror through a Japanese cultural perspective. The story of Silent Hill F follows Hinako Shimizu, a young woman living in an isolated mountain town called Ebisugaoka. Her everyday life is abruptly interrupted when a dense fog envelops the town, transforming it into a horrifying nightmare. People disappear and grotesque creatures lurk in the mist. Hinako must explore the transformed town, unravel mysteries, fight for survival, and make agonizing decisions. The narrative explores themes such as beauty and terror, doubt, regret, and inevitable choices.
Hinako, いつまでここにいる気なの？
自分でもおかしいと思うの。自分で自分がわからない感じ。自分の気持ちが自分で理解できない。私かお前の夢の中ってことはないよな。
ひなこ、もう時間がないのよ。あなたが生かされたということは、ここに至ってもまだ迷いがあるということなのね。あなたがそれに悩める時間はもう尽きかけている。
あなたは誰なの？さっきからなんで何もわからないふりをしているの？私はね、あんたをすぐに殺すこともできたんだよ。全部奪ったな。全部私から奪ったな。
それではお別れを。あなたが幸せをつかんでくれることを願っています。
TLOU is a first-person survival horror game that promises to take players on a terrifying journey through a small town haunted by madness. The game, developed in Unreal Engine 5, puts you in the role of an explorer seeking to uncover the truth behind the carnage that has taken over the place. TLOU places you in a sinister and suspenseful environment where the atmosphere of terror is palpable. The town, gripped by growing insanity, becomes a labyrinth of mysteries and horrors. You will have to face your deepest fears to unravel the disturbing truths hidden in the shadows. Survival in TLOU requires strategy and caution. You will have to use your bullets sparingly, as each shot can be crucial to your survival. The game offers a complex weapon and ammunition system with customization and upgrade options.
Jesus!
Fuck! Oh, shit! Wait, how?
Hello? I'm so sorry. No, I didn't...
Echoes of the Living is a survival horror game in development that promises to revive the classic atmosphere of 1990s horror games, such as the Resident Evil franchise. The game is developed by Moonglint, a studio formed by a Spanish couple, Alvaro and Laura. The game takes place in 1996 in a small European town where a mysterious fog suddenly appears on a clear night. The town's residents have no idea of the horror and chaos they are about to face. Soon the residents begin to get sick and panic takes over everyone. No one knows how or why the dead are walking the streets. A few hours later, the only ones left in the town are the echoes of the living. The player will have a limited inventory, forcing them to carefully choose the items they carry with them. Wrongdust is a third-person horror and survival game that is being developed by Delusional Studio, an independent studio formed by just one developer. The game takes place in a small, abandoned, and detailed town where players will need to explore, face psychological horrors, solve puzzles, and fight monsters along the way. The game's open world resembles settings from The Last of Us, with detailed environments and a dark atmosphere. Gameplay focuses on survival and exploration, with elements of combat and puzzle solving. Players will need to manage their resources, avoid monsters, and use their intellect to overcome the challenges the game presents. Wrongdust is a promising game that promises to offer a unique horror and survival experience, with elements of classic games and a dark and interesting atmosphere. Bio-Goddess Doomsday Begins is a third-person survival game where you take on the role of a high school student who needs to survive in a school hit by a biochemical crisis. The game combines third-person shooting elements with survival. You need to explore different scenarios, find resources, fight enemies, and solve puzzles to survive. Solving puzzles such as finding keys, deciphering passwords, and opening doors is an essential part of the gameplay. The protagonist can collect school uniforms from different countries, each with special abilities that affect gameplay, evoking memories of school life. The game is scheduled to be released later in 2025. A public demo was recently released, allowing players to experience the initial content of the game. As One We Survive is a survival game in development by Revelation Games, set in a post-apocalyptic world ravaged by a pandemic. The game has an isometric perspective and puts players in the role of a father who needs to find help for his sick daughter while struggling to survive in a ruined world. The game takes place in a world where society has collapsed and chaos reigns. The pandemic has devastated the planet, leaving humanity on the brink of collapse. The player takes on the role of a father who embarks on a desperate journey to save his sick daughter, searching for resources and items to ensure the survival of both. As One We Survive combines elements of survival, colony management, and combat. Players will need to collect resources, craft tools and weapons, build shelters, manage their communities, and defend themselves against other survivors who may be hostile. State of Decay 3 is the next evolution of the open-world zombie survival franchise, developed by Undead Labs and published by Xbox Game Studios. State of Decay 3 is set years after a zombie apocalypse that nearly wiped out humanity. Players take control of a community of survivors, fighting against hordes of zombies, managing resources, and building bases to ensure survival. The game maintains a focus on choices that impact events and narratives, with the possibility of permanent character loss. Players lead a group of survivors, making decisions that affect the narrative and events of the game. The loss of a character is permanent, impacting skills and community dynamics. The use of Unreal Engine 5 and collaboration with studios like the Coalition promise next-generation visuals, with larger and more detailed maps.
And even if we bought the other survivors just one more day, the sacrifice would be worth it. It would always be worth it. And that helped us find the courage to keep going, to fight on. We needed it the most. know you well. But we'll keep your memory alive. Every sacrifice we make matters and will never be forgotten.
Showa American Story is an action RPG that promises a unique experience, set in a post-apocalyptic future where Japanese culture merges with American culture. The story revolves around Chuko, a young woman who returns to life after a catastrophic event and embarks on a journey of revenge and discovery across the United States. The game takes place in a world where Japan, with its economic power, has bought most of the United States, creating a Showa America dominated by Japanese culture. This cultural fusion is presented as a gradual process, with inevitable conflicts and adaptations. Chuko, a young stunt woman, travels to Neo-Yokohama, formerly Hollywood, to audition for an action film. However, her dream is interrupted when she is murdered by mysterious agents and her body is discarded in the wild.
Some sort of pain, you caused a permanent stain, which has determined your fate. I've never seen so clear, I feel the end and it's near. The day of reckoning's here, the sound of deafening fear. You don't die if you try, you just might get a little bit of trouble, K-N-I-F-E, right in your side, you will never see me coming. You don't die if you try, you just might get a little bit of trouble, K-N-I-F-E, right in your side. My energy is next level, so damn you better be careful. I got an angel and devil, he stabs me straight in the temple. I'm ready to be a rebel, I've got a lot of potential hidden inside of this vessel. That shit is so exponential. I need a first class ticket to the top, no limit. I don't play no gimmicks, I'ma take you to the clinic. If you want a taste, come at me and you will be replaced. They won't find a trace of you anywhere or any place. You don't die if you try, you just might get a little bit of trouble, K-N-I-F-E, right in your side, you will never see me coming. You don't die if you try, you just might get a little bit of trouble, K-N-I-F-E, right in your side, you will never see me coming.
Hail to the Rainbow is a first-person indie adventure game with elements of horror and shooting, developed by Sergei Noskov, known for titles like 35mm, 7th Sector, and The Light. The game has been in development since 2020 and is set in a post-apocalyptic world with a cyberpunk aesthetic, inspired by works like those of artist Simon Stollenhag and games like The Invincible. Set in a post-apocalyptic Russia, the game presents a dark world where cyberpunk civilization has collapsed due to uncontrolled technological advances, such as killer robots that threaten humanity. The aesthetic combines elements of Soviet cyberpunk with icy and desolate landscapes, creating an immersive and visually striking atmosphere. The 3D graphics are one of the highlights, with detailed environments and breathtaking outdoor landscapes. The Soviet cyberpunk aesthetic is enriched by post-apocalyptic designs and weather effects, such as snow. So that was the video. If you can and want to contribute with any amount, I will be extremely grateful. Every super thanks makes a huge difference and motivates me a lot, besides that you will be mentioned in the next video. I'll be staying here, and until next time.